Race 6, the America's Cup match. Rossa Prada Pirelli on port entry. Will it favour them? Is it a coincidence? Not after race 5, and Emirates Team New Zealand will take the starboard entry. And now, if you're an Italian fan, you're sitting watching this, and you're 3-2 up, Nathan Arteridge, and you go, wow, we might have one hand or a finger on this cup.
Well, I tell you what, if they win this race, no one in Italy is going to be going back to bed this morning.
Shirley Robinson out on chase 1. You almost feel like the tension's just ramped up again.
Stephen, it's a big moment, isn't it? I mean, that Italian boat seems to have options in the starting box, and the Kiwis, they have to unpick that 2 minutes and sort it out. And they did it yesterday, and they won with a big margin. I mean, their boat is fast. They just need to put it in the right place.
Up in Heli 1, Freddie Carr, Ineos Team UK grinder. What is the course telling you right now?
It's a bit of a repeat of race 5, to be honest. That left-hand side looks strong. That's not where the spectator fleet is. This huge spectator fleet, I can't emphasize enough. You can see the breeze to the north side of it, the windward side, and then the breeze just lifts up and over. Again, I'm all about the left-hand side here. On the right-hand side, the other thing in this late afternoon, there's some real big holes in the pressure now as well. There's real big patches of no wind. You've got to pick where to choose to tack and jive.
This is the race committee. The wind sampling period is complete, and this race will start on schedule.
So confirmation from race committee, we have a race. What must be going through the head now of Peter Burling and that afterguard?
Oh, pressure. There's no question, right? Listen, we've all sailors have gone through slumps or even moments of questioning yourself and your strategy and your game plan. He's got to shake that off and just go back to the basics, back to your roots, back to the game plan, and try to make it stick, try to make it work. But realize what the strengths of your competitor is, and that is that high, slow mode of the Italians, and stay out of that trap.
So Kenny then, what is he going to do? What's his game plan? Like, we've talked about the tight Tuluid off the line being Tuluid, and that's what he executed well yesterday. Or you go wide and right. Given he knows the competition has the bigger foils and can handle the slower speeds, like, what's his option?
Well, I think that, so right now they're coming in from the starboard side, so right now they kind of don't have options. The options are being forced by the port tack boat. So of all times for these guys who are maybe questioning strategy, of all times to have that possible disadvantage starboard tack entry point, this is not one of them. It's not setting up perfectly for them right now. They're going to have to break this trend.
Going to have to get creative, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, Spithill did get creative in that last start, did something a little different, and sure enough, it worked.
It'll be Rossa Prada Pirelli in on port entry. They proved that you don't have to come in on port to win the race, as they did in the last race, coming in on starboard. And in come Emirates Team New Zealand, and the 2-minute mark in on starboard. Once again, let the games begin, and who can win the pre-start?
Out there, boys.
At 90.
Tight again. Few seconds by the Italians. All of a sudden tight right behind, and you would think in a reasonably good position they have to choose on Emirates Team New Zealand. Do they want to lead back or do they want to push?
You'd be brave to lead back with the small foils, wouldn't you? If you're leading back, trying to kill, it'd be hard. I'd be really shocked if they try and lead him back here.
25. 14 on the base. He's early.
Decided to push.
Going now. Milking.
Power up, ragazzi. Yeah, we'll be good here. Watch the boundary.
Spanner.
Thanks for doing. He's rounding up now on two boards. You'll see him there. We're late by the pin.
Yes.
Happy to come out relatively fast and forward. Good answer. Right on pin time too. Good call, it's going to hang high for a while.
We're going to go through the gas now.
Yes.
Too early for the pin, guys. It's still early here. Yep. Pick up here.
Nice.
So he didn't lead back. He decided to stay up high and keep it on the
Real
foils.
wide, he's
looking safe. He's not going to get shot there. It's a question of can they pull the trigger and rocket into this line. Rossa look like they're really struggling down there.
Speed priority.
Struggling to get going there. Okay, a little bit transition, Pete. 4 lane, transition on hill a little bit.
Coming in with
he's
heat.
suppressing
Yeah, looks like they're going to try to just roll right over the top. Rossa looks late.
Trying to build here, guys.
Yes.
Go ahead, nice and easy here, Pete.
West partner, West
And
partner.
winding up.
Speed that, speed that.
Don't be overly.
Trimming up here. Stand by for the next start.
Nice, mate.
Yeah,
Oh, heavily good.
speed.
The start of race number 6
Clear
in the
start.
match, and just when Emirates Team New Zealand needed to
Yeah.
execute a good start, they've done the job. They need the win to stay in the match. Here we go. It's time to
Be
bring
real
the
up, right,
heat.
Pete? Heavy as angle, ready to... On that, still on that line.
Absolutely a stunner by Jimmy Spithill. Just when we
Yeah.
were crowning him the starting champion, he brought a lemon out there, Nathan. That wasn't even close. Not even close.
You just call it any old celebrate.
Two things happened there. Pete Burling nailed it, and Jimmy Spittle got it completely wrong. I wonder, Shirley, if it went soft in the starting box or if the wind shifted left, because that was very, very strange to see Rossa so late after they got to choose when to go back.
He carries on.
Nathan Freddie spotted it from the helicopter. It's really, really patchy now.
Yours,
It's down to
no
sort
wider
of
than that.
6,
Up from
7
here.
knots at the bottom of the course. Just really bad timing from the Italian out.
He carries on to boundary as
They
well.
came round and just sat in a real light spot, never got going.
Just trying to build
Two.
high.
You could hear a little bit of panic in Jimmy's voice
soft
there.
down.
This
Power
is the
up,
first
power
time
up,
in this
yeah.
entire series. Like, come on, boys, we got to get it going. We got to get it going. And obviously there wasn't enough breeze at the angle he wanted to stay on. There was not enough breeze to actually get the thing going.
What is surprising, Kenny, is
Trim, yeah.
primarily they have been the
Little puff here.
kings of time
Two,
on distance
one.
in this regatta.
Little pump.
Flap on.
Well, the wind gods, they control your ultimate
Yes.
destiny, and the wind
Crossing.
gods, you
Okay,
can't
we start
sail
the race
a boat
here.
fast through a lull,
Yes.
through a hole in the breeze, whether you want to or not. You can't will it through. The wind gods have to support what you want to do.
Freddie, you're up in the chopper. You would have had a great bird's eye view of that. Do you think part of that would have been the fact that they jived and sailed through the gas of the boats?
Pressure is still
Yeah, there was a bit of that. Made the standout thing for me in that restart is when Rossa turned down in the box their mainsail right above their mainsail, and it was twisted the wrong way. They basically weren't powered up as they were going into the bottom of the box, and you could just see the speed unwinding on the boat. You could hear the mainsail trimmer saying power up, power up, power up. He talked about the runner, and it just unwound from that point. They never got back on their feet.
It'll land at 55 here.
That's why we have you in the sky looking for things that we can't see in the booth.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Good info.
Push.
Different times of
Nice.
pressure.
Sorry, I was with them.
Just when you think you can take the confidence of a win, minutes ago,
good there.
snap.
Keep pressing a little.
Well, it's a sport.
Italy is.
Don't you
Pressing,
love
getting the
it?
head up.
Yes. Yeah, easy. Okay.
Let's build, then we tack.
Yes.
He'll get to the boundary. It's a long
Sure,
way
it
away.
looks shifty out there.
Gas, or
We're
you think
looking
it's
at our
one
charts
for
and
the
all of a
right
sudden our
side?
wind direction charts, and all of a sudden it looks quite a bit more shifty. Almost we're seeing 15, 18, sometimes 20-degree wind shifts. That probably is not coincidental, since we're seeing big holes out on the race course and the wind strength as well.
We're quite late in the day, Kenny, and this is Nathan's backyard. This is where he plays most days when he's at home, and this time of day, it just starts to get really unstable, very patchy. The lower wind speed is getting lower all the time, although we're still up, top speed still at 9 knots, so it's just up and down, more unstable than we've seen before.
Tension coming up.
15.
Yeah, surely you're right. I have done a bit of time on the water, not as much as any of these guys, that's for sure. But one thing that happens is that after 4 o'clock, the wind can start to evaporate, especially as that sun gets a bit lower. I've just had a real quick look at some observations all around the city, and it's a little bit of a southwester on the west coast. It's not looking like it's going to come in and shut this down completely, but
Keep building at 50.
yeah, all the observations right now are well below 10 knots, and the angles are starting to move around more than what we saw an hour ago, so could be some opportunities in this one for a couple of shifts, but
Got a little held up there,
400 metres, you're going to need a lot of opportunities in this one, to be honest.
Heavy right turn. Yep.
Emirates Team New Zealand in a race they need to win to stay comfortably in this America's Cup match. Have executed a strong start. And on the first leg, they will head into the top gate with a sizable advantage. Make no bones about it, it's a sizable advantage on Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. They will lead around that top gate.
Looking out if I need to keep an eye on the yeah, he just attacks there now, but I think we'll be well above him. He'll be last 5 of that. Just watch the up, all clear, all clear, all clear, all clear, wherever you like. 20 seconds.
You do have to ask the question, Kenny, when you think you need to put the hammer down, as Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli could have, they've dropped the ball.
Yeah, but I go back to what Freddie told us with that really great observation from the helicopter and how the Mainzel did not pop. There could have been some sort of power plant problem there, and we'll have to find out.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, finally it gets to the top gate of the first leg.
2, 1,
check the margin. It's 51 seconds. There's some work to do, I'll say.
Yeah, just at that moment where you think that you're getting your hands on the trophy and you're going to go 4-2 up.
Don't think that.
And I guarantee none of those guys are doing that. We're just making it all up here, and the fans would be thinking that. But the guys on board, they just know one job: execute, execute, execute. And they'll be kicking themselves that they jived, they didn't get the power back, and they had a bad start.
So yesterday it was a technical issue. Francesco Bruni trouble getting the board down. Again today, another technical issue.
Well, you're making an assumption.
I'm not making an assumption. I'm saying what we have seen.
Yeah, okay, possibly. I'm not prepared to go as far as you're going quite yet. No.
Pretty steady, same at the moment. 35.
You've got the faces of Peter Berlin top right, Glenn Ashby bottom left. They actually sit in the same cockpit, just on opposite sides, and when they tack and jibe, they switch sides here. So,
what do you think his right hand is on there, Nathan? He has his right hand on a handle right there.
So I'm pretty good buddies with Bernie. I ask him every couple of days, and he just smiles.
That's his right hand.
And says,
you're not that good at buddy.
You're never going to find out. You're never going to find out.
All the way to 1 coming down.
But hey, maybe if we get to talk to him after the race, we can ask him.
I'm not getting amongst this, okay? I tried on tube yesterday.
You bailed him out, by the way.
His Hamilton wanted to talk to him.
Still a little bit.
We are on the first downward leg of race number 6 of this America's Cup match. The scoreline at the moment is Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli 3 race wins. Emirates Team New Zealand 2 race wins. First to 7 wins the cup, and we are a long way from that.
Hey, Shirley, back to you on kind of the mental side of this thing.
A little soft out of this, boys.
It's interesting to me that the Kiwis have been a little rough around the edges with their sailing. And boy, if I were the Italians, I'd be thinking we're missing an opportunity to try to really end this early before these guys get sharper, don't you think?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I mean, I wouldn't go as far and say the Kiwis are rusty, but you can tell they have not raced all summer like the Italians have. And it just the nuances of it, you know, just the positioning and the timing. You know, it's split seconds, and, you know, that's every race that goes by. Glenn said it this morning. You know, every race that goes by, they're just getting better and better and sharper and sharper. So I think you're absolutely right. Missed opportunity.
Emirates Team New Zealand have responded as they go down that bottom gate for the first time.
Good.
And swing it around. Why wouldn't they be happy? You can hear the crowds probably out on course A getting excited about that. They know this team needs to win this race to stay in the cup. You didn't want to go into, or you don't want to go into tomorrow 2 races behind.
Forward. Goes in, back to there. At 60.
That's the question. Your first race of the day, race number 5, and you start you basically don't get it right. Suddenly, you pull off the master stroke. It's like, where has that been?
Well, it's all different. This is
Not going info right? Yeah, we can do
but
that.
it's kind of snowflake
Info
material.
right, boys.
Everything's different out here, right? Every race is different. Every maneuver is
Hey,
different.
boys, stand by.
Every start
And
procedure is
3,
different. There's never
2,
two the
1,
same,
board
and you
down.
got your chance. It's the beauty of sailing. You get your chance in a second.
And turning.
Emirates Team New Zealand
boards
leading
coming
this
up.
boat. Rossa, Prada, Pirelli, the challenger of record. And they're trailing now by 1 minute and 7 seconds. Fans just a little somber at this point, but certainly
Good
not
pressure
out of the
coming,
match.
Nice speed.
The young girl they keep going to there is Francesco Bruni's daughter. She was very excited in the first race and wearing a heart on the
Trying to
sleeve
build
right
a little
now, isn't
more
she? She's
into
a
a
little
deal.
bit deflated, fair enough.
I'd like to continue the conversation about the starts though, Kenny, because we've been sitting here talking racing for 3 months, and you guys have been telling me about the things that are set up and software that can do this and do that. And yes, there is the human element, but surely when you get to this point, you know how you're going to play.
No, it is, but Nathan, it is the human element. That's the beauty of all this. We can talk about all the computers we want, the timing to the line, everything else. The computer has to, or the person has to pull the trigger and steer the boat. And you know, it's not easy, especially when we're dealing in these marginal foiling conditions.
Yeah, and you got to interpret the information that comes to you, because the information you get in the computer software for the starting, it'll tell you, okay, you're killing 5 seconds. But what's it based on? It's based on an average wind speed number, average wind speed direction. If the wind speed changes or you sail through some gas of another boat, you're wrong. So clearly, part of the role of the sailors is to understand their software and read it and interpret it and make the most of it. Freddie, you've been racing here a few weeks ago. How important is the software in the starts, and how critical is it to really have a human element in it?
The software is everything, like your tactical aid, as we call it, and that's giving Ben and Giles, in our case, all the information back to the line, and critically, Nathan, like the time to burn back to the line, and you live and die off that. Just to roll on into the next point, mate, the picture is really changing up here. At the start of the race, the dead spots of wind were about a tennis court size. We're now looking at big patches of no wind on the water that are about the size of a rugby pitch. So this race is a long way from over. You talk about the mistake difference. There could be some boats doing some manoeuvres as touching down from what I'm seeing up here. It's changing very quickly.
And that just adds the intrigue of another race in the America's Cup. Freddie Carr, the UK, Ineos Team UK grinder up in Halley 1. Shirley Robinson, our double Olympic gold medalist, out on Chase Boat 1. So just remember the words of Freddie right now. Could we see touchdown?
That's really interesting. It kind of reminds me of one of the races we had in December between these two boats. It got lighter and lighter, and on that final downwind, they weren't foiling. You know, they really struggled to get up and get foiling. So, you know, if Freddie's right and there are bigger patches of less wind and someone falls in a hole and falls off the foils, well then, as you say, Kenny, you know, these light wind races become very interesting all of a sudden.
Does it go advantage Luna Rossa with those bigger foils and touching down?
It could, but we've seen also the Kiwis are just good at keeping those average speeds high. Remember in that same race, Nathan, I believe Blair Tuke asked, hey, do you think we should jibe instead of tack going upwind to stay on the foils? So that's how important staying on the foils is.
So important. You live and die on your apparent wind. Your apparent wind gives you the speed, it gives you the lift from the foils, and you know, if it's too light to tack, sometimes these guys
Robinson out on Chase 1. Surely if you're Luna Rossa, what are your options right now?
Well, keep going, hope for the best. I mean, we've been watching the Kiwis a lot, Stephen. When they were off on their own, they look so slick. They're sailing like a small boat, like a moth. You feel on top of them, bow down. They just really look like they just get going and get rumbling once they get free of the competition. It's so impressive.
virtual eye giving you an understanding of where both these boats are on the course. Course A, as Emirates Team New Zealand come into the top gate for the third time and will complete the halfway stage of race number 6 in this 36th America's Cup match.
5 away from dead feet. 3, 2, 1.
Emirates Team New Zealand rounding the top gate, heading for the 4th leg now, downwind. A minute
a little bit more than
seconds was the last advantage.
What do you need, brother? Nice. A little bit less hill. Yeah, come on. Quick flash, real nice. Seat laying that other gate. Negative.
Yeah, this is about turning to a really big lead here. There's still away on Rossa, and I think they're going to struggle to make this gate, Nathan, and that one more attack. Not only is it another attack, another maneuver, another loss, but they're going to be following the Kiwis to that side of the race course. They don't even get a split here.
Okay, pressure coming.
These guys are sort of going back to us. Maybe they can climb into a high mode and just lay. If they lay there, it's definitely a big save.
Nice left
It's
here.
going to be well over a minute by the time they get around the mark, isn't it?
Pirelli drive, boys.
Yeah.
They're going to make me look
Slowly
bad.
getting away here.
Maybe make it. Yeah,
2,
of course.
1. Yeah, all clear.
Thanks, fellas.
Well, they picked up 2 seconds on the upwind leg, did Rossa, Prada, Pirelli, but that's still a minute and 5 seconds behind Emirates Team New Zealand. And if it stays like this, Kenny, if it stays like this, and we talk about the confidence that Rossa, Prada, Pirelli have gained, already 3 race wins, but then if it stays like this, and they get bashed here, they're being bashed. What does that do to you psychologically?
They're being bashed for one reason only. All this is doing, all today is done at the end of the day. If this turns out to be the, you know, the lead for the Kiwis remains around the course, all this means is the pressure is turned up on the starting helmsman. This is becoming that's all you guys at this press conference are going to talk about tonight. That's all the sailing world is talking about. Can Peter Burling or Jimmy Spithill get the start right? So,
So Kenny, what you're saying is that it's actually going to be the best sailor who wins the America's Cup and maybe not the fastest boat.
Oh my goodness.
It's a big call, but if you look at 6 races now, it's a
well, which one's the faster boat?
Well, they've all said there's nothing in it.
Exactly. So what a great thing for the America's Cup and for sailing if it is the better sailor. I'd like to, the definition of a faster boat, I don't think we know what the faster boat is here yet. That's still my...
There have been questions saying, I wonder what it would be like in windy conditions and would people get to see
just keep it out a little bit longer
to the
and
is.
Well, remember, it's not about the high speed. I keep saying it's about the lap time. In any given wind strength, it's about how quick you do these loops around the race course. The high speed doesn't matter. It's almost like how
But doesn't the fast boat win the America's Cup?
Your definition of fast is incorrect, my friend.
We're just picking on Kenny a bit at the moment. We'll stop in a second.
It's almost like how irrelevant it is time between the boats at the marks. That's how irrelevant.
Ouch! Look at the biometrics. The grinders doing all their work. Look at the gap. Closing at 820 meters between the two as we're about to complete leg number 4 on this 6th race of the 36th America's Cup, and it is Emirates Team New Zealand. You can imagine the noise being made on those spectator boats that are sitting outside a cracking virtual eye stadium. And Emirates Team New Zealand complete the 4th leg and will head up for the second to last time on this course. Why wouldn't that crowd be cheering? Quite surprised, not jumping up and down. But they are happy on a glorious Saturday afternoon in Auckland City.
-2. Seconds.
A traveler here.
It's a bit marginal if we can make it.
Yeah. Someone right.
Are you thinking one and then right?
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
about
think
you,
so.
but the body language and the tone
Okay,
of the way they're
cross,
talking now
before
has
Gecko.
come
Yeah,
right
you
off
go.
the pedal.
Go now.
Yeah, but
Your
again,
top.
I still
my top.
maintain that as soon as they finish, it's irrelevant going back into the barn tonight, and they're
by,
going to be
boys.
ready to go tomorrow. Let's go win a start.
2, 1, board down.
Just remember, the Italians are emotional people, and that's what I love about it.
I don't know if that Spithill guy is though.
We're going to call them quasi-Italian. Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli about to complete the fourth leg.
Turning
And
3,
the gap
2,
has
1.
lengthened
Here we
somewhat
go.
on the downward leg in favour of Emirates Team New Zealand. The gap now 1 minute and 13 seconds.
Shirley, one thing you keep talking about is how different the Kiwi boat looks when they kind of get out in the open race course. A big difference between last race and this race is the Kiwis kept it close. They didn't gain. They didn't really lose in a tough spot. But the Italians are not able to keep it close right now. This is a whitewash going on out
Got all
here.
the way at the moment.
Numbers are there,
Yeah.
Bruno Wire. Yeah, good, bro.
Yeah, Kenny, I mean, I'm sure we'll go through the numbers later, but that's just how it looks really from on the water, that as soon as they're free and they're sailing their own race, they just have a groove, they have an extra kind of gear.
Checking on his
And
step.
for those viewers who sail small foiling boats, you'll recognise it. Pete Burling just looks like he's in his mold, feeling every gust and really sailing the boat well. I mean, I think we have to give credit to Pete and Blair and his team. I mean, under tremendous pressure, and they executed that start well. As you say, they're learning quickly. And Nathan, you've sailed against them a lot. I mean, they're good under pressure. And I just get the feeling that he's really kind of getting his confidence now.
Yeah, Shirley, you're spot on there. If you've won an America's Cup and you've won a gold medal, you're bloody good under pressure, that's for sure. They're very good sailors, and I can tell you one thing, they might have felt a bit of stress between races, but look at this, they're coming out and they're storming this one.
Let's go up to Heli 1, because Freddie, the last time we spoke to you, said there were big patches of nothingness. What are you seeing now?
It's coming a little bit earlier.
Those patches of nothingness are still there, and it's still the top right-hand side of the course that poses that risk to the boats where Emirates Team New Zealand have just tanked. I've just slipped into spying mode a bit up here, which is great for me, and I was watching both boats tax, and I just saw the two aft grinders on board Emirates Team New Zealand spin round, and it looks like they're flying the boat to me. I think that's Andy Maloney and Josh Jr. And as a grinder, to think that you go around the leeward mark, your max heart rate, trimming everything on, they say standby tack, and you have to completely decompress and then fly that boat in the turn. That was pretty awesome to see from up here.
You jealous?
I'd love some time off the handles, that's for sure. I just spin my arms all day. I don't get to do any of the fun stuff.
It's a good moment here.
Freddie Carr, the Ineos Team UK grinder up on Heli 1 for us today.
Stand by, guys.
And he talked
29
about those
knots.
biometrics, didn't he?
2, 1, hold
Suddenly
down.
they come down a little bit, but
There.
the tacking will go up a little bit for these grinders.
Righto. My Trev.
Crossing.
Trying that a lot.
They do it a little different. And Freddie, coming back to you for a second, you were explaining to us this morning about how the Italians do it, maybe a little different from some of the other boats, as far as grinding and what they're grinding and how much they have to actually grind.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways of skinning the problem of moving the Traveller. The Traveller's the most dynamic thing in the boat. It controls your roll control, so how much the boat is leaning over. You can use an accumulator, which is a hydraulic bomb. You can charge that up and give your mainsail trimmer unlimited power on the Traveller. That's a lot of hard work, but it's a very good way of doing it. Or you can sail more live, and I think what we see here between Emirates Team New Zealand, they charge a bomb and then give the mainsail trimmer unlimited Traveller power, and Emirates Team New Zealand sail a little bit more live, but what that allows them to do is their grinders to go low windage, and I really do like the low windage kneeling grinding style that Prada have got.
I might suggest in this race right now that Emirates Team New Zealand have dropped a bomb on Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli as they head into the top leg for the final time and look towards that homeward leg. Emirates Team New Zealand trailing by a race win. And on the current scale of what we're watching, they should level this race up. Around the top mark they go and head home to complete race 6.
He's coming up wind here, please. Yeah, for sure or not? He is at the moment. Happy to go earlier. Yep, go now. Pull down. Yep, perfect. Nice comms. Gotcha. Let's cover. Yep.
So, Freddie, interesting comment you made before about how the power's going to use. I've been trying to work out who trims the main on Emirates Team New Zealand because Glenn Ashby's always on the leeward side of the boat. Do you guys have any idea who's trimming the main side?
I don't. I'd be having a guess, but my guess is that Glenn Ashby sets up like the sail shape potentially, and maybe Pete has the roll control. So it's much like having the tiller and the main sheet in your hand if you're a 49er sailor, and like you, Nate, like growing up going through the 49er, maybe that's what he's used to. He's able to perfectly control the roll of the boat with a twist grip for the traveller and also his wheel and the rudder movement.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli for the final time around the top gate, and this is 6th race of the America's Cup. Gone very quiet on board.
Okay, 2, 1, here we go.
Mark running they do and head home. And it's now 1 minute and 22 seconds. That's a lead and a half.
Still good path here.
Back to the modes for a second, Nathan. We were looking at statistics earlier, where this boat averages somewhere around 2 or 3 knots faster. The Kimi boat does around the race course, 2 or 3 knots faster. But they've actually been traveling upwards of 1,600 meters on average further around the race course. This low and fast mode, 1,600 meters is half a leg. That's how much distance they're doing. It's actually an incredible amount of extra distance.
It's a huge amount of extra distance, and I think it's all down to the design philosophy of the boat. It's not because Peter and the guys want to go low and fast. It's because of those smaller foils. You see they're just dropping the foil in now. They've got the torpedo bulb on the foil. They've got a much smaller area, and the only way you can get that foil to work in its range is to actually go a faster mode. So up when you'll naturally see them going lower and faster, and the sail plan will need to balance and match that. So far, we haven't seen many windy races, nothing over 12 knots. If we get a day of over 15 knots of breeze in the coming days, I just can't wait to see how fast that boat's going to go, because everything that I know about the design of these boats tells me that those foils are going to be absolute rockets when it gets windy.
We are in the final seconds of the 6th race of the 2021 America's Cup match. Emirates Team New Zealand came in trailing by 1.
The regatta starts.
They have produced what you might call a super Saturday performance when it mattered.
Shame we just drops 100 metres straight in front of us.
Emirates Team New Zealand come across the line,
nice work,
and we're still locked up in this match. It is now 3-all between Emirates Team New Zealand and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
Regatta starts tomorrow.
Who wants to round up and hold in?
You heard Glenn Ashby say that as well?
Oh, I did?
Yeah, I heard him in the comments in the background.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah, you guys must be linked together. He's right, you guys are right. The regatta starts tomorrow. Back to effectively 0-all.
I was talking to Shirley Robertson pre this race, and there was one line that came to mind, and when we think about where we're at right now as we wait for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli to cross the line, is who blinks first? Who blinks first?
All on the start right now. I hate to put the pressure on these two boys, but Mr. Burling and Mr. Spithill, this is starting to ratchet the pressure up, because it's becoming very obvious to me, and I think most of the rest of the sailing world, win the start, win the race.
I've got to say, if I'm the leader of any of these campaigns, I'm going, oh, I don't know what to do. How are we going to win a race? How can we take control?
No, you can't take control. Let the sailors sail. They've gotten to this point, and do not try to change things up now.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli finally coming into the finish zone for race 6. And it's a start that was costly. Pretty
Our
calm
boys are
saw
still
things
illegal
that
here.
we didn't see and told us exactly what
2,
went down.
1,
And it's
put down.
turned into a race loss. But
luck,
it's
boys.
still 3-all
problema.
in the
Okay,
America's
ragazzi.
Cup match.
Andiamo.
It's anybody's still. Confirmation of the result in race 6 of this America's Cup match. Emirates Team New Zealand lock it up at 3-all with a 1 minute and 41 second victory.